What's up, Cowboy Nation? Breaking news. Jason Witten said that, hey, you know what? Pulling a rabbit out of the head is not my calling. That's what he said. Not a rabbit out of a hat. A rabbit out of the head is not my calling. I'm going to get back to football, doing what I know was best. And Jason Witten has said that, hey, he is back into the mix. I cannot believe this. That's one of the areas of need. Cowboys needed to have a quote-unquote tight end, and Jason Witten said, you know what, I'm really with the belief that I can come back, I could be a difference changer, I could be a difference maker, and it's on the Dallas Cowboys website. I know it's going to hit news throughout everywhere. I really appreciate each and every last one of you all for tuning in. Jason Witten said that, hey, it's time for me to be back in the graces with the NFL, and Jason Witten has made it back. Hey, this should be good news to all, especially those who think that we've been missing some leadership on that side of the ball. And then you can talk about now the growth factor with a Blake Jarwin of the worlds and as well as with the other guys that's on this team. To me personally, this is a good move. I really believe that Jason Witten is one of those guys that you can say he's a guy that knows the system like his backhand. He knows it, and trust me, it's one of those things where, as I'm loading up everything, really appreciate each and every last one of you all for being part of this thing, especially for those who out there who submitting information out there for me to look over. Yes, Jason Witten, shout out to you, Daniel Mazza, for hitting me up on the Discord with the information for the nation. So, with that being said, man, Cowboy Nation, what a relief to know that we have a sure hands catcher now who can run the intermediate routes. And it's crazy news, but I don't do groundbreaking news, but hey, since I was at the house on my break, I might as well pull this up so everybody can see Jason Witten back into the mix. I want to know your thoughts. I want to know your opinions of this thing, and we'll check in with 105.3 The Fan as well. We can check them out to see what they're talking about and see how the news is of around the world, or how they experience this thing.
When it comes to that sense of where the guy is going. And so it gives Dak a heck of an option, not only down there, but in the red zone. Does it free up, on third down, does it free up your ability now to go somewhere else in the draft?
Wow.
When you look at team building, you lose Randy Gregory. You're thinking, man, are we going to have to draft a defensive lineman? But we also need a tight end. Could this be a move that allows them now to maybe more aggressively go after defensive line in the draft?
Yeah, I think so, as long as I think we probably want to start with sign Earl Thomas. I think you want to start there, because when you're talking about what this team needs now, tight end was a really big one, and I bet some people may still think that it is, but with him on the roster, he's going to play. He's going to play a bunch of snaps. So if you get a tight end, they're probably not going to play a ton. So you might be able to take it from big need to,
I think, off the board for the unless you have a guy that you love that falls to you.
Yeah, I think you could still take one, and I still wouldn't bother with it, and I definitely wouldn't waste my time unless I know it's a guy that's dramatically better than either Jarwin or Schultz.
Right.
Because you got to be able to push somebody off the roster if I'm going to pick you. So tight end, you might just go ahead and take that off the board. Jason Witten's going to play a bunch of snaps. He's not coming back here to watch.
Okay, so there's a couple of different ways to react to this. Obviously, you love Jason Witten, and for some of his biggest fans, very exciting to get to watch him play again. Is it good for the football team? What does he have left in the tank after a year? Are they letting sentiment dictate depth chart a little bit?
So here comes the really interesting part, and I'm just presenting numbers. I'm not presenting an opinion yet. Last year, Blake Jarwin averaged 11.4 yards per catch. Dalton Schultz, 9.7 yards per catch. Last time Witten played, he was at 8.9. So that had come down steadily. Now, it was a young quarterback, and it was a, go turn around offense.
That was horrible. Yeah, all their receivers had lows for yards per catch, I would imagine.
Because he's not a bad down-the-field player. Now, he used to be a great down-the-field player, but he probably doesn't run like he did. And that can be what opportunities you were given. It's hard to get yards after catch when they keep telling you to go turn around. So I think they upgraded. How much? Probably not that significantly. I don't think 37-year-old Jason Witten is going to dominate the NFL, but do I think he'll be good for 60 catches and 600 yards? Yeah. And that's 300 yards than any tight end had last year.
It definitely lends credibility to that Ben Rogers story, doesn't it? From late in the season where they were talking about coming back. I mean, so
right around that New Orleans Saints game is where Ben thought that they were going to announce that Jason Witten was coming back to the team for the final 4 to 5 games of the season. That was a real deal.
So why does it work now, but it didn't work then?
I do think this. I think the team looked at it last year and thought they had created momentum with the guys in the room. I think Ezekiel Elliott turned into a great leader. And I think that I wonder how concerned they were. Like, hey, we have some young guys really growing into leadership roles. Dak has really had to take a step forward without Dez, without Witten in the room, and making sure that everybody hears his voice. And I bet, hey, we love that. And I bet this. I bet they told Witten, don't table this. Don't say you're done playing football. Just let us play out the last 4 to 5 games here, play the playoffs, and then we will strongly consider having you back to the team if you still want to come back for a full season where you have the workouts and everything to come in and be ready. And I think you don't have to worry about Witten not being ready to play football.
No.
He's going to be so pumped. I'm pumped up. The more we talk about this, the more I'm pumped up that Jason Witten's coming back to help this team that is a player away from doing something special.
Yeah, but they need some veteran leadership at that position. They're kind of out there trying to make things work, but it was very inconsistent week to week. I wonder, I believe and I've heard Nussmeier, Garrett, and presumably Kellen Moore. I haven't heard anything about Kellen Moore, but they liked the 2 tight end looks a lot more than Scott Linehan. And I know when we talk 2 tight ends,
ran Witten out of town too.
Well,
Dez and Witten.
Maybe he was less excited about the idea of moving him in because he did a lot less 2 tight ends. And I think passing out of 2 tight ends is what we want. We don't want running out of 2, but maybe there are more balls that have come available in that situation this year as compared to under Linehan. Other talking points here. How much money are we looking at with Witten?
I bet low.
I hope so, yeah.
I bet $2 million.
Yeah, that would
2
be
to 3. I'll bet.
Okay,
I bet it's 2 to 3. If it turns out that it's 6 or 7, then it's going to get real awkward because on the home of the Cowboys, I'm going to be like, "What are they doing? Let him walk! Get back in the booth, Jason."
I mean, we've been talking about all these big contracts they have coming up. We want to see them go get Earl Thomas. I would not think they would do a deal with Jason Witten that would in any way impact that money that's been earmarked for other players.
I don't think so either. I think at this point, this isn't about money for Jason Witten, and you have the quotes pulled up. I don't have them pulled up, but this is about he desperately missed the game, and it was like death. I've done this before. I'm not Jason Witten. Don't get me wrong. It feels like part of you dies when you stop playing the sport you've played your whole life and then get to play it at the highest level. And he felt the death inside of him, that something inside of me has died. A part of me has died, and he can't bring it back for life, but he can bring it back. He's still good enough to play another year or 2 in this league. And so he gets to bring that back to life. And I think he's going to be so motivated. I'm not saying he's going to play back to his prime, but I think he's going to be so motivated that every game is even going to be more important to him than it was before. The other thing, too, I've seen this in baseball. I think it can work somewhat in football. Football's already such an emotional game because there's only 16 of them. Is how much does the team rally that Witten's coming back to do this? Come on, guys.
All right. Yeah, I like it.
I think it can motivate you a little bit more. I want to be my best because this guy deserves, I know that's a tough word, deserves to be in an NFC championship game. He deserves to be in a Super Bowl. And I think it can be a little bit extra motivation to have a guy like that on your team.
Absolutely. I can see that.
Boog, too. See what Boog's got left.
Maybe be a defensive line coach or something. Help Marinelli out down there a little bit. Now, how about some of this reaction we're getting at G-Bag Nation on Twitter? One of our favorite Tolos, IndyCar Tim, says, terrible plan. Horrible idea.
Tim.
I love him. But this is a bad idea.
But that's a flop.
Brian Bingham, this is great news. Yes, with the WWE guy that says yes all the time. He used a GIF in there with the constantly saying yes. How about American Pharaoh? I pray to Almighty God that this doesn't stunt Blake Jarwin's growth, but this means Cole is a goner. Not enough targets to go around.
Yeah, I thought Cole was a goner anyways. Financially, I don't think they can afford him. And so with Blake Jarwin, I'll buy a little bit of what you're saying, but Blake Jarwin wasn't a first or second round pick. If they would have drafted Dallas Goedert with the second round pick, I wouldn't say, oh no, Witten's coming back. I'd say, well, wait a second. We took a guy that we think can be maybe not the next Jason Witten, but somebody who's going to be a really solid player. We invested a lot in this player. They didn't invest doodly squat in Blake Jarwin, but there is ability there. And what you talked about, 2 tight ends are going to play 60% of the snaps for the Dallas Cowboys.
Absolutely.
Well, Witten better be pretty good still because he's getting roughly $5 million.
That electricity zap you over there.
Yeah,
$5 million? Are the numbers out?
Yeah, Ian Rappaport says the Cowboys are giving their new/old tight end roughly $5 million to come out of retirement for this season.
The same money to do an NFL football game in the booth, right? They matched his ESPN salary.
Yeah, probably, or close to it.
I'm still going to be excited about this. I'm surprised that the numbers that high, and hopefully that doesn't mean, like you said earlier, if Earl Thomas wants 12 and now all you have left is 10, hopefully.
Man, they had to have gotten him in there for some pretty amazing workouts. Dak's been throwing to him, right? There's no way you drop $5 million on Jason Witten unless you're sure he's the same 2017 Jason Witten who was questionably worth $5 million. That's a healthy number.
That's a big.
We got
number.
Incentives coming in here or something.
It better be incentive laden.
That is a big number.
Allows him to save face that he wasn't giving up money to leave broadcasting.
No, don't save face.
If you're worried about helping you guys save face, you're doing a really bad job.
You don't do this.
But
give him 2.5 with incentive.
I hope,
face.
and this is terrible. Like it should be like, hooray, Jason Witten's back, right? But I hope that they really do treat it as a meritocracy, and it's not, hey, Jason Witten, you want to play again? Great. Here's 100% of the snaps. Go get him, Tiger. We'll see at camp. If he's still got it, if he's still clearly the best tight end on the roster, then great. Then you've got a solid player, and go get him. If he's not clearly the best tight end on the roster, they better treat it that way.
Yeah.
Where you're not entitled to being out there every snap. Come show us what you got and come earn it.
Well, it is official. Jason Witten is back, and we're getting some of the numbers. How about a little bit more reaction? Jason Prince on Twitter, at GBagNation. Perfect tight end for the majority of Dak's routes, 10 to 15 yards and under. Kryptonian Cowboy. Let's bring Romo back and get them both a Super Bowl. I know. I'd love to do that, too, but Romo's about to get $10 million a year for broadcasting. At least, hey, they're not doing.
He's going to go into the Hall of Fame of broadcasting. He keeps this up.
I know
he's found his groove.
Yeah. He's better at broadcasting than he was at quarterback, and I don't say that as a shot at him as a quarterback.
So Witten's about to turn 37 years old.
Yep.
37. In May he turns 37. So just to give you an idea of what he has left, I mean, it'll be interesting after sitting out a year. I just wonder, in football, is sitting out a year good at his age to bring his body back into the shape that he needs to?
Or does it make you get...
I would think so, man. You take some time off to actually really heal, get to know your body again. I think so. Look what it did for Vic when he took some time off.
Absolutely.
He knocked the rust off, and then he was like back at supreme level.
He didn't even get a good diet in those 18 months or whatever he was out. He was eating bad stuff. Claude Love says he sucked calling games, so why not bring him back? Why'd you have to do that, Claude? That's uncalled for.
Well, that's probably part of the reason he's back, Gavin. If he was as good as Tony is at it, he may have stayed in the booth.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm
it's
sure
just real life.
I'm sure we'll be talking about this more with you throughout the day. G-Bag Nation. We'll take a look at Cowboys Twitter coming up next right here on 105.3 The Fan.
All right, guys, let's talk about Men's T Clinic. Jason Witten, hey, you know what? He could have gone through testosterone therapy while he was out playing football because, you're not getting tested when you're retired. If you feel like you've lost your edge, you've lost your energy.
He must got a lot of man T. Testosterone injection. All right, so you guys go hit up that clinic. But man, $5 million. That's a lot of money. That is a lot of paper. Hopefully he can get out there and replace something. That's a lot of money. And I know what old reliable is going to be able to do. He can block well. He can run that wide option route better than anybody in the NFL, even at his age. But if we want to look at it, 5 yards, turn and shoot, open your hips, catch the ball. That is what Jason Witten can do. Now, he's not going to be a burner. He's not going to take the top off the defense or anything like that. He's going to give you that 5 or 7 yard cushion, turn, open his hips, and catch the ball. Now, I don't know, man. That's a lot of money. I hope that they got it crafted in a sense where it's $5 million, but if it's $5 million, if you include the incentive base, if you complete this many games, or if you catch this amount of passes, or if this happened or that happened. But if you give the man $5 million up front, and then on top of that, you got to realize this too. Oh man, it's crazy in a sense. I love Jason Witten. I love his skill set and I love his ability, but at the same time, I love reality. And we all know we love reality. The reality says that hey, this is a 38-year-old tight end that's going to be trying to compete against kids that's 20 and 21 and 22 years old who got speed. And then on top of that, if you take out in an entire year of just sitting back broadcasting talking about the game, and now you're going to be in the game, it's calls for pause. Now, trust me, reliable. Me and Jason Witten the same age, the exact same age. So I know what I feel like when I get through running. But looking at Jason Witten, I'm not even close to the type of remuneration he's earned over his period of time of making this paper. Guys, let me know how you all feel about Jason Witten. Let me know if you guys feel that like, hey, $5 million, is it too much money? Is it too much paper? Do we have a situation whereas Jason Witten can be this guy? Do he see something that we don't see? Are we closer to the Super Bowl now? Are we closer to the Super Bowl? Hey, it's crazy in a sense to think otherwise, because if I'm Jason Witten and I don't have to get hit, then I'm going to sit in that booth and I'm going to try to better my best inside that booth and learn all I can. But, oh my goodness, $5 million. Cole is getting released. Let me see. Walker, appreciate you for tuning in. Maine, thank you for being part of the thing. Who else we have here in the chat box? DJ, let me know, man. Hey, 3 yards, dump pass. This is Poncho, the king. Let me know how you all feel about reliable getting back on the team, being back into the graces of everything. And this is no fake news. This is reported on the Dallas Cowboys website. It says put a stop to the Hall of Fame clock, or better yet, just pause it for this time being, because Jason Witten has decided he isn't done playing football. Yes. So let me know how you guys feel. Oh my goodness. How you guys feel about this? Q Child said this is wild. Dawson says Witten will also be back in the mentor. Yeah. Now look, and this is what I want to do. This is what I want to say here. I want to give you guys, and whoever listened to 105.3 The Fan, let me know once it's back on and we can click it back over. Just let me know in the comment box and I can flip it back over to 105.3 The Fan and hear their feedback. This is what Jason Witten brings to the table. The positive aspects of everything. This team is still young. Jason Witten will be able to educate and give people information and mentor people about the goods and tell people about their off-season conditionings. He will also be able to tell people like the Blake Jarwins of the world and the Schultz, hey, these are things that you need to do in order to have my type of career built inside of you. So this is what wisdom and understanding and being down there in the trenches, being part of a team and organizing everything is Jason Witten's strong suit. Now, sometimes when you have that ability to transfer your knowledge, because knowledge is power, you can't take it away. Once you know it, you can transfer it to someone else. That's why they say knowledge cannot be destroyed, it can only be transferred. So who is going to be able to receive the information from the nation, from Jason Witten, over to what he knows out there on the field? Is it Jarwin? Is it Schultz? Do they keep Rico Suave? Yes, because everything you want Jason Witten to do, he can do it. There's nothing that you can say he can't. The only one negative that you can say about Jason Witten, his hands are great. His persona out there on the field is great. There's only one flaw on Jason Witten's resume. And that speed. I know some grandmothers out here that's in the chat box that probably can give Jason Witten a run for his money. But he knows that field. He knows it. He do. And yes, Chris Dantzler, he says, another weapon. Make him the tight end coach. Kenneth says, make him the tight end coach. Dallas Cowboys for life on my Periscope says, hey, he's slow, fam. Yes. We kicked 2 tight ends off the boat by bringing him in. Yes. Chuckle. What's up, man? Appreciate you for tuning in to the nation. Let's see what they got over here, man. I got about 6 more minutes before I have to run my tail back to work. But let's see if 105.3 The Fan is back at it. Really appreciate you all. Thank you all for tuning in to the nation.
Break the internet. And I was alluding to how that could be happening tonight, and I thought it really was that night. But it unraveled for whatever reason, and we can talk about those reasons. You guys touched base on some of those. Was it they like the hot hand, they had positive momentum, or was it Steven who was like, yeah, this doesn't really make sense? I don't know. But it fell apart. I was with Witten 2 weeks ago for an event, and he did not mention this. I did not think it was a possibility. I was blindsided by this today.
How was his belly and everything?
Dude, he was ripped.
Okay, so
I was shocked.
I thought you were going to say he was fat.
Not at all, dude. I was fat. He was not fat. But it was, he was like a brick house, man. And I think there's a lot of reasons they're doing this. I think it's probably Jerry steering the ship here. I think they like the leadership. I don't think this changes what they're going to do at the tight end position. I don't think he'll end up playing more than 1 year. I think it's a chance for him to get out of the booth. He'll make more money than he was making in the booth. He'll reestablish himself as a Cowboys legend. He'll help in the red zone. He'll help otherwise. They run a lot of double tight end sets and even triple tight end sets. Who knows if Kellen will do that? But I think this is very positive. And most importantly, you have the second or youngest team in the league. You've got some awesome leadership back in the house. And so I think this is all positive, and it still wouldn't shock me to see them take a tight end with their first pick.
Do you think Dirk inspired him by last night? Dirk saying he plans to play next year if everything feels good in his body, that then Witten decided, okay, if Dirk's going to play another year, I'm coming back.
I think it's hard to leave, man. And Dirk loves that camaraderie. You know, I can't imagine what that was like for you. You got to experience what we all dream about. You played in the bigs, and when you leave that clubhouse and you no longer have that camaraderie with the fellas. And
is one of the most depressing times in my life is when I took a job in media and had to go do spring training, as in cover it as not a player.
Yeah. And then for us,
it's
the camaraderie of the radio crew going to spring training. It's like, wow, we're covering spring training. It's just different perspectives. But man, I think this is a real big positive. I understand the debate. Like if people are going, oh my God, he's going to be on the field every play, and they're going to use him and all the time. And
he's better than the other tight ends they have, though.
He's better than all the tight ends they have, and I think it's just a very big positive. And I think what it means is, you alluded to this yesterday, Gavin, when you're talking about that Machota tweet. When you read between the lines, I believe Steven mentioned Jerry has a timetable. Jerry's always saying, "I have a timetable." I think they're going all in. To me, I see this. I'm thinking, this is, even though it's financially doesn't help, I see it even more likely Earl Thomas is here, and they are absolutely going for it.
I mean, if they're willing to do something that I see as kind of somewhat financially risky, giving $5 million to a 37-year-old that's been out of the NFL for a year, what other kind of risks could they have in mind as far as making sure they take the most? Because if you don't win it this year and you look back and say, well, we were financially very, very prudent. You know, we didn't do anything that was going to hurt us long term, but then you don't win it, and then you're giving Dak and everybody huge money, and you don't have the opportunity that is good, you would forever regret, I think, not pushing all your chips into the middle.
Yeah, and I kind of enjoy that Steven at the Combine was talking about how they were going to be really aggressive in terms of upgrading the roster or pursuing guys. And I'm with Ben that once they sign a role, which I believe they will, because they also keep talking about, listen, we've got a really good, really young team. So now, for the first time ever, they're not going to be afraid to slap a couple olds in there and say, all right, go lead the young guys. We got the young talent. Give us the olds who are going to kind of get everybody on the right track.
That
I'll leave
balance
you this.
of old and young, okay.
I'll leave you this, but I'll let you guys get back to G-Bagging. But they are absolutely going for this. They are going for it, and this is going to be an awesome year for Cowboys fans. right here on 105.3 The Fan, and we're going to try to get him on the show today if we can.
Sweet. Yes,
Oh, wow.
I knew you would. I knew you would. There he goes, Ben Rogers, hard at work, Skins in as well over there in the bullpen. They're preparing for the show coming up at 3 o'clock right here on The Fan.
I would like to give a big thanks out to the Jones family, as I think they screw me over quite a bit on baseball nuggets. And usually
Thanks for this content.
Yeah, they actually announced this the minute after Nuggets was over. Usually they make sure, oh no, Basic's talking baseball again, so they want to give their hard breaking news in that 11:45 to 11:50 area to really stop the baseball talk. But at least I got in my 10 minutes of baseball talk.
Yeah,
Well done, Mike. Well done.
Thanks.
Well done.
Thanks. I'm just saying a thanks to the Jones family for allowing the 10 minutes of baseball talk.
So he'll play for 1 year, and then he'll be on the Cowboys coaching staff. We think that's what's going to happen?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
sounds
Unless an
about
opportunity to coach in college comes up.
Yeah, I could see Tennessee more than
Yeah.
I could see
Head
Dallas
coach.
Cowboys.
Okay, so here's the thing in the back of my mind, and I'm not saying this to be a hater, although you might accuse me of being a hater for saying it. How much is this about the love for football, and how much is a soft landing spot from the embarrassment of what his TV career was, or the frustration, the thinking, I don't want to go back and stress about how the Sunday night call went, or the Monday night call went.
I think it definitely made it easier for him. You know, I think everybody that leaves the game probably has a really strong pull to go back to it, but when you went on to something else that was an awesome job that paid really well, and you're really good at it, I think that probably makes it easier to fight the urge to go play, and he didn't have anything else pulling at him.
I don't think he'd want to come back and embarrass himself playing football. So to your point, is there a little bit there? There probably is, but I really think that he's coming back because it felt like he died last year. It probably felt like I feel like I am half alive in my life. I'm walking around and I'm around football, but I feel dead without playing it, and I can still do this. And I'm not saying it's Tony Romo's fault, but Tony Romo is arguably his best friend, and he probably listened a lot to Tony Romo about how great this actually is and how fun it is. And he's like, wow, and I'm getting offered the job to do Monday Night Football, and my buddy's telling me that this is the best thing in the world after your football playing career is over. And then Jason Witten and Tony Romo are different people, and he's like, no, you know what? This isn't fun. I didn't have major back injuries. I feel like I'm dead not playing this sport. And so I believe he's coming back to really play the game of football, because I just can't imagine guys that have that much pride that are Hall of Famers to come back after you've retired and then to be really bad at the sport. I just don't think he would do.
Yes, indeed, Cowboy Nation. That's pretty much close to my time. I really appreciate each and every last one of you all for being part of this thing. Breaking news, Jason Witten. No, this is not a spoof or anything like that. He is back. I don't know if it's 5 million or it's 3.5. I hope that it's incentive based or what have you. I think that his leadership quality is everything, far beyond whatever we have on our team right now. I do like the fact that we saw the growth factor with Ezekiel Elliott being more of a leader last year. And, of course, we already know that Dak Prescott intangibles of being a leader on and off the field is remarkable as well. This could be two or three things, and I'm going to mention one right here. This could be the beginning of the Dallas Cowboys saying, you know what? We about to go all in, meaning that we're going to make sure that we can get this Super Bowl this year. And I know I'm going to hear a lot of people saying, okay, we've been talking about Super Bowl for almost since 1995. Hell, that's why you say live like 95, Law. But listen, hear me out on this right here, Cowboy Nation. This could be a deal where it's saying right now that Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones said, hey, we got that window. We got Amari Cooper. We got a young developing Michael Gallup. We saw the growth a little bit in Blake Jarwin. All we missing now is a tight end or maybe a safety and somebody else that can be explosive on this defensive on the front four. Let's just go ahead and push all our chips in now, and let's go try to host this Lombardi Trophy. Let's just lift this thing up. Let me know. Remember those that was on my Instagram when I was talking about, you guys remember the show Life when Ray was talking about Ray's Boom Boom Room? Well, here's Law's Boom Boom Room. Just close your eyes and imagine the tears that's going to fall out of our faces and eyes when we get to that big dance. We've been waiting since 1995 to get here. And Jerry Jones, he's 77, going to be 77, close to 78 this year. It's time for us to go all in, push everything in the middle, and say, hey, this is the team that we can win the Super Bowl with. Call 82. Let's go get this ring, and let's make this thing happen one way or another. And if we can be chilling, we're going to have on one side, I'm going to be dressed in all white with my suit on. I'm going to have a big old star on my back. Those who out there, Q Childs, he going to be holding the door down. My guy over here, Remy, he's going to be just sitting over there in the cut over there, ready. Dallas Cowboys for life, that's on my Periscope. He going to be ready for it. He's going to be ready for it. We all going to be just boomer sooner. All you guys that's in my Discord that's in the link down below, we're going to be ready for this year when we get there to that big dance. It's going to be nice. I cannot wait for this to happen. I think that Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones and Will McClay, they're going to try to make this thing happen one way or another. They're going to say, okay, if we bring back number 82, we might as well push all our chips out there. They talked about us. They laughed about us. They laughed at us about Jerry Jones buying a yacht. They laughed at us by suspensions of players, and they sitting there joking around. But they not ready for the Cowboy Nation for us to get back on this thing and look everybody in their eyes and say, hey, we won a playoff game last year, which was cool. That's a good feeling. But dog it, we lost the playoff game only by 8 points. And if we had 1 or 2 plays that went our way, maybe this thing can happen. And if you want a thing bad enough to go out and fight for it, to work day and night for it, to give up your time and your peace and your sleep for it, if all of your desires of it makes you quite mad enough that you don't get tired of it, and it makes you hold all other things tawdry and cheap for it, that's the Super Bowl. If you can get your head around to it, let's go, Cowboy Nation. You already know we can get this thing going. All we got to do is shut out the naysayers. Shut them out. We stay to our plan. We stay to our path. We already had a good defense. Let's make this defense better. Let's go ahead and understand that right now when Jason Witten was playing, he didn't have an Amari Cooper on his side, right? So now we got an Amari Cooper and we got a Michael Gallup who's going to demand some type of coverage. Now, Jason Witten sitting there saying there were some plays that was left out on the field last year. I know that I can help out the Jarwins. I know I can help out the being an extension. Remember, the tight end is the third hardest position to learn out there in the National Football League. You put him on that LOS, you put Jason Witten there may be 1 or 2 holes that can open up for Ezekiel Elliott. And then the path of the righteous man is beset on all sides by the iniquities of the selfish, right? And on top of that, if you think about this, you put another spell back out there that can help Ezekiel Elliott. My goodness, let's go, Cowboy Nation. I don't know about you all, but I got one more thing I want to say to you all before I go. Are you all listening? I got one more thing I got to say to you all. Are you all are listening? How about them Cowboys? Let's go, Gold Jacket Wit. Let's go, Cowboy Nation. Let's get this thing going one way or another. Cowboy Nation, Jason Witten is back in the house. He's going to try to get that Lombardi trophy back for us. He's going to tell everybody what we need to do in order to get there, one way or another. Let's go. Let's go. Yes, they counted us down before they put us out. But guess what? We back in this thing. We don't fold up like lawn chairs, Cowboy Nation. We own this thing. Let's go. Yes. Meticulous Cowboys 86. We are training up. Jesse. Yes. Steven, what's up, man? Jason P, what's good, man? Lucas, let's go. Ty Jefferson said, Ric Flair. Woo! Are you not entertained? Is this not why you're here? And remember, oh yeah, Travis Frederick will be back. Yes. Ooh, I forgot about that. And remember, you all are listening to absolutely nothing but the best. Salute. I'm out. Peace. finish this fight.